Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a wonderful day. In the cold and unforgiving wilderness of medieval Scotland, there was once a story so horrifying that parents whispered it to their children only by candlelight. Travelers spoke of it in frightened tones at roadside inns, and soldiers were said to cross themselves at the mere mention of the name. The legend of Sawney Bean became one of the darkest stories ever associated with Scotland, a nightmare involving murder, cannibalism, and an entire family hidden beneath the cliffs of the Scottish coast. I am Agent J.A., and you're watching Chronicles of the Unexplained and Exclaimed, and this is the story of the Bean Clan. The story begins sometime during the 15th or 16th century, though no one can agree on the exact date. According to legend, Alexander Sawney Bean was born in East Lothian, Scotland, to poor laborers who worked long, exhausting days, digging ditches and cutting hedges. But Sawney was different from other men. From a young age, he hated honest work. While others sweated in the fields, Sawney wandered through forests, stealing food and fighting with locals. He was known for his violent temper and strange fascination with dead animals. Some villagers whispered that there was something deeply wrong with him, something dark hiding behind his cold eyes. As he grew older, Sawney met a woman just as twisted as he was. Her name has been lost to history, though some called her Black Agnes. She was rumored to be a witch, feared by neighbors who claimed she practiced dark rituals and drank animal blood. Together, Sawney and Agnes became inseparable. The two married and soon realized they shared the same violent urges. Neither wanted to live under the laws of society, neither cared about human life, so one night they vanished. Sawney Bean and his wife traveled southwest, and as they reached the rugged coastline near Ben Head, a desolate stretch of shore along the Ayrshire coast of Scotland, there, hidden beneath towering cliffs battered endlessly by icy waves, they discovered a massive sea cave. At high tide, the entrance disappeared completely underwater, making it nearly impossible to find. It was the perfect hiding place. The couple moved deep into the cave and made it their home. At first, they survived by robbing lone travelers passing along nearby roads. Scotland during that time was dangerous enough already. Roads were poorly patrolled, forests were thick with bandits, and missing people often vanished without explanation. Sawney and Agnes soon realized they could kill without suspicion, and eventually, robbery was no longer enough. One stormy evening, a lone traveler made his way along the coastal road on horseback. He never noticed the figures watching him from the darkness. Sawney attacked first. He dragged the man from his horse, while Agnes slit his throat with a hunting knife. The traveler's body was hauled back into the cave, where the couple searched his belongings for coins and valuables. But then hunger overcame them. Food was scarce, especially during harsh winters. Desperation slowly twisted into something monstrous, according to the legend. Sawney Bean carved flesh from the dead traveler and roasted it over a fire. That night, the couple committed their first act of cannibalism, and after crossing that line, there was no going back. Over the years, Sawney and Agnes had children, many children. The cave became home to a growing family raised entirely in darkness and violence. The Bean children knew nothing of normal society. They were taught to hunt humans before they could even fully speak. As the family grew larger, incest became common within the clan. Sons and daughters produced more children among themselves, until the Bean family supposedly expanded into dozens of people: fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, grandchildren, all living together in the endless blackness of the cave. Some legends claimed the clan eventually numbered nearly 50. They survived through murder. At night, small hunting groups emerged from the cave like predators stalking prey. Travelers disappeared constantly along the roads of southwestern Scotland. Entire families vanished. Merchants were never seen again. Sometimes the Beans attacked lone riders. Other times they ambushed groups, overwhelming them with sheer numbers before dragging bodies back to the cave. Inside, the horrors continued. Human remains hung from cave walls like butchered livestock. Flesh was salted and preserved in barrels. Bones littered the cave floor. Clothing and jewelry stolen from victims were piled into massive heaps. And still no one discovered them as years passed. Fear spread throughout nearby villages. People began disappearing at an alarming rate. At taverns and inns, rumors grew darker with every passing month. Some believed demons haunted the roads. Others claimed werewolves prowled the forests. Innocent travelers were often falsely accused of murder simply because they happened to be nearby when someone disappeared. Mob justice became common. Several innocent men were reportedly hanged for crimes actually committed by the Bean clan. The terror became so widespread that many people refused to travel after sunset, but the killings continued. The Bean family had become efficient hunters. They struck quickly, leaving almost no evidence behind. Bodies were rarely found because the clan consumed nearly every piece of their victims. Only strange remains occasionally washed ashore. Villagers sometimes discovered severed limbs floating in the water or scattered bones along the beach. Authorities assumed wild animals or pirates were responsible. No one imagined the truth hiding inside the cliffs. The downfall of the Bean clan supposedly began with a single failed attack. One evening, a married couple rode horseback along the coastal road after returning from a local fair. The man was experienced with weapons and carried both a sword and pistol. As they passed near the cliffs, the Beans attacked from the darkness. The woman was dragged screaming from her horse. Before her husband could save her, the clan brutally killed her in front of him. But unlike previous victims, the man fought back fiercely. He slashed wildly with his sword, injuring several attackers. He fired his pistol into the darkness, causing confusion among the clan. Most importantly, he managed to stay on horseback and avoid being overwhelmed. Then something unexpected happened. A large group of travelers appeared farther down the road, seeing witnesses approaching. The Bean clan retreated into the darkness rather than risk exposure. The surviving husband, covered in blood and barely alive, told authorities what had happened. For the first time, someone had escaped. And his story was so horrifying that even local officials struggled to believe it. News of the attacks eventually reached James VI, according to legend. King James personally led a massive manhunt involving hundreds of soldiers and bloodhounds. Determined to uncover whoever was responsible for the disappearances, the search parties combed the coastline for days. Eventually, the dogs caught the scent. They led soldiers toward the hidden cave at Benane Head. At first, the entrance appeared impossible to access. But during low tide, the king's men forced their way inside. What they discovered became the stuff of nightmares. Torches illuminated walls lined with human body parts. Limbs hung from hooks like meat in a butcher shop. Piles of stolen valuables covered the ground. Watches, rings, clothing, weapons, coins, and jewelry taken from countless victims over decades. Human bones crunched beneath soldiers' boots. Deep within the cave, the Bean clan was found living like wild animals. Men, women, and children alike were arrested. None resisted. According to some versions of the legend, they laughed as soldiers dragged them into the light. The Bean clan was transported to Edinburgh for execution. Their crimes were considered so monstrous that no normal punishment seemed sufficient. The men reportedly had their hands and feet severed before being left to bleed to death. The women and children were forced to watch before they too were executed and burned throughout the ordeal. Sawney Bean supposedly showed no remorse. Legend says his final words were chilling. "It isn't over. It will never be over." And with that, the Bean clan vanished into history, or perhaps into myth. Was Sawney Bean real? Historians have debated the legend of Sawney Bean for centuries. Many believe the story was nothing more than propaganda created after conflicts between Scotland and England. Some researchers point out that no official records from the supposed time period mention the Bean clan or the massive executions associated with them. Others argue the tale may have been heavily exaggerated over generations. transformed from a small series of crimes into a horrifying national legend. Still, some people insist there must be truth hidden somewhere within the story. The caves near Benane Head are real. Disappearances on isolated roads were common during medieval times, and humanity has always been fascinated and terrified by stories of people becoming monsters. Whether fact or fiction, the legend of Sawney Bean survived because it touched something primal in human fear. The fear of what might be hiding in the dark, the fear of isolation, the fear that somewhere beyond civilization, something hungry is waiting. Even today, visitors to the Scottish coast sometimes speak about the caves near Benane Head in hushed voices. Storm waves still crash against the cliffs exactly as they did centuries ago. And when the tide rolls in and darkness fills the caves once more, it becomes very easy to imagine shadows moving deep inside, watching, waiting, hungry for the next traveler to lose their way. So what do you think about the Bean Clan? Were they real? Did all that really happen? Some movies have been inspired by the Bean Clan. Wrong Turn, The Hills Have Eyes are movies based on the Bean Clan. I am Agent J. A. and you're watching Chronicles of the Unexplained and Explained. Comment on where you're watching from, and if you think this is a true story. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and remember to always keep an open mind.